Okay guys, so welcome to the Power Bulgarians exercise demonstration. Just want to preface this one by saying it's an incredibly advanced variation. It's got a very high stability demand component. So if you don't feel like you're strong enough in this unilateral exercise, then please revert back to a simpler progression such as the normal Bulgarian split squat or a split squat into a hip drive if you want that acceleration component. Keeping that in mind, the Bulgarian split squat position will be the same within the Power Bulgarians as well. So you want to focus on elevating that rear leg onto a raised object. The higher you tend to go with the rear object, the greater the mobility demand on the rec fem and the hip flexor on that rear leg. You can choose to place your toes or the top of your foot onto the object. It's whatever is most comfortable for you. You want to make sure that those hips are square on and that we have that nice triple alignment of the ankle, knee and hip on both legs. Keeping the shoulders slightly in front of the hips while sitting the hip back to keep the tension on the posterior chain. You're going to bend both legs and slowly lower that rear knee towards the ground. Once you're in this position, you're going to rapidly extend through the ankles, knees and hips and drive up off the ground with that front leg. So as you can see in the video, I'm driving up and leaving the floor temporarily. Now, one thing to bear in mind with this one is there is always going to be limited extension. You're generating that maximal acceleration and you're generating the speed of the movement without getting to end range like you would within a clean, for example, because simply of the nature of being in that split stance. So you just want to bear that in mind because, like I said, it's going to challenge that stability component a little bit more, but it is actually great at learning how to generate power throughout longer ranges of motion. Again, prefacing this by saying it's highly advanced, so make sure that to start with, if it's the first time doing it, you do a couple of warm-up exercises or a couple of warm-up sets with just the normal calisthenic version, and then I would recommend holding on to something just to make sure that you got that stability and not going 100% all at once. So just focusing on leaving the floor first, and then you can go into the power variation where you are maximally driving through the ankle, knee and hip at the same time. Again, when it comes to landing, the same with any landing drill unless specified otherwise. You want to focus on absorbing the landing, taking the control of the movement, so you will land in a little bit of triple flexion. Focus on stabilizing your position, stand back up again before you do the next repetition. A lot of people make the mistake of doing consecutive reps one after the other. Just make sure that we get that break in between each rep to make sure that you've got a solid structural position for the next rep.